Hey guys, this is Mara the Hedgehog with my book review of Ghostly Echoes by William Ritter, the third book in the Jacoby series. This is coming out August 23rd. I was sent a copy for review. And yeah, this is young adult historical fantasy, supernatural, paranormal, mystery. Think Doctor Who meets Sherlock, in this case with a little bit of I can't think of it. In any case, I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars. If any of you followed me for any length of time, you know that I adore Jacoby. I've adored Jacoby even before it came out, because I actually got an arc of the first book before it was released, months in advance. So I am one of the #1 fans of this series. Ghostly Echoes picks up where Beastly Bones left off, and I will link my reviews for both Jacoby and Beastly Bones in the drop-down menu below. I did a video review of Jacoby, and I did a written review of Beastly Bones. But anyway, this picks up right where Beastly Bones left off. Ginny, the ghost that lives at Jacoby and Abigail's residence, has started to kind of remember things about her past and the circumstances of her murder, and she would like Abigail and Jacoby to solve the case of her murder, which is like a 10 years old murder case. But Jacoby and Abigail are starting to discover that maybe her cold case is not quite as cold as they thought, when there is another recent murder, that is very, very similar to what happened to Ginny, and that the people who wanted her dead may in fact still be around and causing havoc. This was a wonderful, wonderful book. I really am pretty much going to be saying the same things I've said about Jacoby and Beastly Bones. Abigail is a wonderful protagonist. She is spunky and intelligent and sarcastic, and just, I love her, and she's so practical and no nonsense, which I love in my female protagonists. On top of that, though, she also is a very feeling person. Unlike Jacoby, she sees the normalcy in the world around them. Jacoby sees the supernatural and the otherworldliness that surrounds the normal human world, and Abigail sees more the day-to-day life and the feelings of people, which can often help Jacoby a lot in cases, because he's not paying attention to those kinds of things. Jacoby, as usual, is a hysterical character. He is very energetic and very random, and, you know, has Sherlock Holmes's bluntness that a lot of times is very rude, and his brilliance, but kind of has more of the Doctor's randomness and enthusiasm, and just kind of all over the place and doesn't really communicate what he's doing. Is a great combination, and Jacoby's a very original character. And, you know, I say that the series is like Doctor Who meets Sherlock. That is a very accurate description, a very good selling point, but all the characters in it are still very original and still very them. They're not copies of these other iconic characters. They're similar, but they're themselves. I really loved that Ginny ended up becoming a very prominent character in this. I always liked her, but we get more depth in her with this one. We learn more about her past and who she is as a person, and this actually is Ginny's story, not just because it deals with her murder, but we see her grow as a character through all these trials and facing the facts of her violent death. And it's very fascinating to see. We also get to learn a little bit about Jacoby's past, not a lot, but a little bit, and that was very, very exciting for me. I've been wanting to know more about Jacoby, and the little hints we get just say so much about him, but also still brings up a lot of questions that have yet to be answered. And it was just great development. There's a lot of character development in this. Charlie comes back, which I was very excited about. He's not in it a ton, but he's in a little bit, and it made me very happy. The romance between him and Abigail is, I would say in a lot of ways, kind of hit a resolved state. Uh, they're at a good place right now, so there isn't a lot of focus on that. And I would have liked to have seen more of Charlie, and I'm hoping that we see more of Charlie as the series progresses, because he is absolutely one of my favorite characters, and I love his and Abigail's relationship, but I do feel like it's a tiny bit in danger of becoming a little bit stagnant because it's actually not getting focused on enough, which I don't usually complain about in romances, but in this case, it's fine right now, but I'm a little worried that if we don't get a little bit more development, that it will become stagnant in other installments, and I really don't want to see that happen. But they're still great characters. The villains in this are amazing. I really love the villains in this, and I just can't wait to see where that goes. So good. The story itself is really exciting, and gets a lot more complicated as it goes. The feel of this book is very different from the others, and I actually had to struggle with myself because I wasn't certain if I was happy. Minor spoiler, but not really. Jacoby and Abigail actually end up having to visit the underworld, like the literal underworld. And this book went from being a supernatural Victorian era mystery with, fairies and vampires and like, to more Percy Jackson-esque. And it was a twist that I wasn't expecting, and I wasn't entirely certain if I liked the feel because it felt so different. But I came to realize as I was struggling with this that one of the great unique things about this series is that each book, while it operates as a series, each book actually feels like its own standalone in a lot of ways. Each book has its own unique feel, and it works in a very bizarre way. It's new. It's a new feeling, and I wasn't sure if I liked it, but I had decided that I actually really, really like that each book really does have its own unique feel. You cannot actually really, in fact, compare any of them to each other, because they do each have a very unique feel, and this Greco-Roman aspect, mythology aspect that is introduced in this one actually ended up working extremely well. It somehow bizarrely really fit in with the other feel the story has, which is kind of a Victor Frankenstein, mad science-esque feel as well, which I really loved that aspect. I loved that we've now combined the supernatural with this mad science thing, and it was just really, really cool. The ending, as like all the others, were wrapped up very well, but it obviously is a doorway to the sequel, and I really can't wait to see what happens in that one. I can't wait to find out more about Jacoby and, his gift, where he got it and why he got it and all of that. I can't wait to see Abigail grow more as a character, and her and Charlie grow more in their relationship. And I'm really, really loving the direction Ginny's character is taken. Loving it. And the villains are great, and I'm just really loving the climax that this series is heading towards. At the same time, I love that at this point I really can't tell how many books there are going to be. If someone who's involved with the Jacoby series would like to inform me how many books are planned, I would love that, but I understand if you can't. But yeah, overall, Ghostly Echoes was an extremely, extremely good addition. It does exactly what a third book should. It is building so much up. You have character development, the plot thickens, more important pieces are laid out, and more questions arise, of course. The atmosphere took a little getting used to with, again, its switch from Victorian mad scientist to almost a Percy Jackson, Greek mythology-esque feel. But it ended up working really well, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. 5 out of 5 for Ghostly Echoes. I hope you guys pick up your own copy when it comes out, August 23rd, and I hope you enjoy this adventure as much as I did, and continue to love Jacoby. So yes, that is my review for Ghostly Echoes. I hope you guys found it useful and enjoyable, and can't wait to hear from you, and thank you again so much. Mind blanking. I know the name of the publisher, but I can never pronounce it. Algonquin. I'm sorry if I butchered that, I'm sure I did. Thank you again so much for sending me a copy of this book, and I can't wait to see what William Ritter writes next. So I'll see you guys around with another review sometime. Bye!